one of the big issues with from what I'm understanding with the assessors for is payment. The kind of money that they're making after they reach that level. I spoke to the state about this, and they said that, just so we understood, that here soon, probably by the first of the year, they will graduate 17 master assessors. So I don't know what our plans are for the future. Are we going to be looking for an assessor in the future, or is this going to be a long-term plan to keep with a company who I hear is a very good company? But are we going to make this a permanent deal, or are we going to continue to look for an assessor? And how is this going to affect us down the road when it comes time to look for an assessor, if we continue or move on without keeping them here? And that was one of the issues.
I can only speak to, my time as mayor. I don't believe in a transition like this. If somebody called tomorrow and said, hey, I'm a level 4 assessor, it would make sense or be in our best interest. Right now, what we're looking at is, for the last 12 months, we did pursue that. We did try to find a level 4 assessor, and we were unsuccessful. So at this point in time, what we're looking at is the transition with WCA and really taking advantage of the resources and tools that they have within their company to look at new opportunities and ensuring that every piece of property, every addition, every new construction or remod that has happened is captured. And over the next 2 years, that will be our goal and objective. I can't say in the future. I mean, these guys know. I talked to them in 2014, and we considered at that point in time, before we hired Jerry, going this route. Our goal was always to try to keep it in-house. Unfortunately, as we're talking about, the options just became very limited. And this is a good organization. They're good people. They're a good company. If you look at the companies or the communities they represent, and I hope you guys had a chance to even call some of them that were on their references. They do great work, and I think that what we're going to find is that there's some money out there for the city of Taylor that we haven't been able to capture until we move forward over the next 12 to 24 months.
The assessor prior to Jerry, was that assessor a level 4 as well?
Mr. Chairman, if you remember, she only worked 2.5 days a week, Sheila. I think she was part-time. And so even when Jerry came in, there was some catching up for Jerry to do, and now there's going to be some catching up for WCA to do.
Going back to Charlie's question about how many people are going to be in the office after everything is taken, regular day now. How many people will be in the office, and will be there, every day?
As I indicated, and my answer may have been a little hard it was a little weird because I said between 2.5 and 4.5. And that's simply because of the way in which our organization operates, is that not only do we have individuals that are going to be, those individuals tasked here every single day, Monday through Friday, to be able to run the counter, the same faces as you're going to see here at City Hall all the time, so there's no revolving door with that. But our organization is large, and due to the fact we have expertise in certain particular areas. For example, we have litigation individuals who will only be involved necessarily when it comes to major litigation. We'll have commercial industrial folks that are experts in commercial industrial. They come out and do the commercial industrial portion. Part of this list here has got some questions as it relates to personal property. We have a personal property division. The personal property division will be here at particular times, so it's pertinent for them as well. So the core staff will remain the same at about 2.5, but then the other 2.5 or 2 is usually going to be one of the other individuals that will float in or out depending upon what their job assignment would be.
And the level 4 will be here all the time, or you'll be in and out kind of thing, or?
Through the transition, there should be a level 4 here almost all the time, but that level 4 won't be here all the time. There'll be a level 4 or level 3 here that will be the individual. But Jessica is right now supervising Redford Township. Mara's doing Inkster, so and Garden City. So I mean, this is a transitional role that Jessica's. We're planning on. This will be her home base more so than the other jurisdictions, but she should be here to be able to handle any question or concern that typically arises, or be able to respond back to that almost immediately.
It would be nice to have a familiar face in the offices, people come in.
That's very much what we work towards and achieve, is essentially have those core individuals, and then we're able to, if there's a specific questions or it may relate to a complicated incentive matter or something such as that, then we have those individuals that we bring in for that.
Mr. Chairman, one other point, and I don't want to get into naming names, but one of the unique advantages we may have with WCA in this relationship is there's a handful of former City of Taylor employees that are currently employed with WCA, so they will have some historical knowledge or working experience to at least lean back on.
So you're the guy
We're part of it. I was trying to say that really nice.
So basically, what we're saying here, because of the way that it's basically set up in the contract for extensions up to 3 years, this is our first step in outsourcing.
You could look at it that way.
I mean, I'm just looking at it as if we start here, then next where do we go? And then next where do we go? Just like our police department's awful short personnel. Next thing you know, we'll be outsourcing police. But again, I fully understand the situation we're in. We're back in a corner. We have no choice.
Mr. Chairman?
Again.
I don't want to get off track on the discussion of outsourcing our police department, but if you remember, before the last election, we went through a similar transition with our building department. Our building department, we had to rely on private partnerships with outside contractors. We eventually, over the course of 3 or 4 years, hired staff and now have that totally back in-house. What I want to do is give everybody honest answers and, clear expectations. I would think over the next 12 to 24 months, I would not expect to see that department brought back in-house because of the transition that we're going to go through.
Can we confirm the contract? You said something about extensions.
Yeah,
The motion says to 2020, but I don't know if we wrote this proposed contract or if these guys did, but it's got a date of September 2022. When does this contract expire?
Jason, do you know how the RFP was put out? I don't have that in front of me.
You know, Mr. Mayor, sorry, I do not have those details, but I'm going to look for it right now.
Okay.
Well, what we're voting on, this contract
It's just 1
ends
year.
December 31st, 2020.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying what's
Right.
in our
No, I
packet
But the
has a
contract
different
says
date,
to
so
the-
I didn't see anything about extensions, so I was just trying to clarify what we're agreeing to here.
Yeah, the motion probably should say with two one-year extension options, but those are going to come back to you anyhow. So whether it's in here or not, it's going to come back to this body. I'm sorry, Aaron.
No, it's exactly it. I mean, the way that the RFP was originally written was to expire after 1 year with 2 potential extensions. The contract that you have before you is the same contract that we submit to all of our municipal clients. It's an example contract that was included within the RFP, so you had the opportunity to review it and to see if there's any questions. And of course, we would anticipate that contract be reviewed by your legal staff and whatever changes necessary for whatever purposes to make it specific to your insurance requirements or any of those specific policies that may be the City of Taylor policies that we would, of course, want to make sure that we're adhering to. All those issues would be, of course, addressed at that point.
Yeah, we wanted to provide an opportunity too, so you can have numbers to work off for future budgets too, so.
In the posting, was there any listing of what we were going to pay if they were hired?
Yes.
What was it?
I believe it was 90 to 100,000.
Thank you.
The services that you guys do for Riverview, I'm surprised to hear you talk about 2.5 to 4.5 people, only because I looked at a reference letter that we had, and it talks about you guys being on site there 1 day a week. Is that just because of the size of the city, the number of properties, different services?
So Riverview is kind of a different situation. Riverview actually is part of what's referred to as the Downriver
Assessing Consortium.
Assessing Consortium. Right. So a number of years ago, it was Riverview, Wyandotte, and Southgate. They essentially joined in and created a assessing authority, and it was the assessing authority which actually hired WCA. So in particular, those jurisdictions, the vast majority of our clients, we prepare and provide all the services, but in that particular assessing authority, there are some still city staff members in there, so it's weird. Out of the norm, I guess, is how I would explain that one.
Limited services compared to what you'd be providing us.
Correct, yes. And that's really the only authority that we have any interaction. As far as I'm aware, it's the only authority in the state.
Mr. Chairman, the one community that was probably most comparable to the City of Taylor is the City of Westland. And, back in, I don't know, guys, what was it, 2014 that we originally met, and I think I went out at that point in time and toured what they were doing in Westland, and when you go into Westland City Hall, you don't know that it's WCA. They don't have tags on that say WCA. I mean, it is the same staff that's there each and every day. So from a resident standpoint, it looks and feels as authentic as it would have the day before, you know, that the contract took over. And that was really important because we do want to have that consistency. We do want to have the same faces that are used to dealing with particular residents and some of their questions. So, you know, that was probably the one community that we looked at and evaluated closely because there's so many similarities in terms of population, geographical footprint, and budget size. So, and if you see their I think it was their HR director that gave their official reference. There's some comments in there, and I have spoke to the mayor several times, and you know, they're really happy with WCA. But I think you guys have been there now for 7 or 8 years or longer. 8 years.
It doesn't, 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of communities that we represent that even the city and township staff don't even realize we're contractors. We've been there longer than them, and we just integrate into that community's service, and you just don't know that we're contractors.
For example, our staff member is the longest serving staff member currently employed in Norfolk Township for the last 37 years. If you were to go to Canton Township and stop at the assessor's office, you would never have been speaking to a township employee. For the last 37 years, they've been employees of WCA Assessing. It's an integral, seamless, we work right along with everyone at the city, and it's almost impossible to tell them we're anything different. So.
On the chart